So we're good, I think. Yeah. And of course, now Phoebe has decided to go crazy. So I'll see. We'll see. Stay down, little muffin. Yeah. Might have to kick her out. I think so. Going. All right. I don't know what happened there, but we're good. I think we're good. I've gotten off my head on YouTube. I'm a little off here. So I was traveling last weekend and forgot to post to let y'all know that I wouldn't be here. And I meant to upload a video for last weekend, but my computer wasn't cooperating, so that didn't happen. This is kind of how life goes sometimes, right? So, gosh, what was I don't know what I was going to talk about, but here we are. So today, we're going to do things that we always do. Right? I think maybe there's one or two things that are a little unusual, but nothing we haven't done before. But we're going to talk about how when you add or take away what I was taught was called long levers, right? It can totally change something. So if you're just standing with your arms down, very little work, right? But if you take them out to the sides, you're adding this extra body weight there, and it's more challenging for your shoulders and for your core and everything else, right? Or if you bring it vertically, it changes how it feels. And sometimes not only maybe we're not strong enough for it, but if you've got a shoulder thing or something, maybe that's not where you want your arms. So you can change them and make it where you need them to be, right? And just kind of keep that in your mind for any poses that you're in. You can alter them a little bit, or a lot, right? To make it more accessible or to make it more challenging. If it's just a strength kind of thing versus an injury, or, and sometimes my shoulders aren't happy, maybe I should say. Right? So I need to make these change things to make it better for me that day. Right? And you may find that, you may not yet, but someday, right? I don't know if you can see the cat, but she's being pretty hilarious right now. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. And I'll show you as we go through a couple of different examples of what I'm talking about, and then you can use them in the future. So let's align the heels to the groin. Make sure that we have a comfortable seat here. Remember to prop if that's better for you. And you can do some of these things in a chair even, if you're having that sort of day. Right? And I do have some chair yoga in the YouTube page. Maybe I'll throw a link on the Facebook to that. But you can also find it through anydayyoga.com. Right? You can find all my links there. So making sure that we're upright, lift the pelvic floor, lower belly in and up. We're tall through the sides, but relaxed through the hips and shoulders. Right? So we just want to release the inner hip so the knee falls. Pressing down on the knees doesn't help. Sitting nice and tall, crown the head to the ceiling. Go ahead and close your eyes and just take a moment, right? Notice what's going on this morning. Where do you feel like you need a little extra stretch, or maybe isn't feeling it today? Just take a moment and notice how you're feeling. Keeping that in mind, notice how your breath is. Sometimes we have to notice just that we are breathing at all because, we need to think about breathing. Take a moment and just notice it. And let's turn that into a yoga breath. So we're going to breathe out through the nose. And just gradually begin to deepen your breath, both the inhales and the exhales. So with each breath, you get a little fuller, more full. And with each exhalation, you empty out a little bit more. And then not only thinking about getting full and empty, see if you can slow it down just a little bit. Or a lot. And notice if the breath flows evenly, right? Does it take as long to inhale as it does to exhale? And see if you can even it out. Take it to a place that is just beyond comfortable. So it still is a little bit, it takes a little bit of thought. It takes a little bit of your attention. And that's what we want to maintain throughout the class. Begin to add movement here. So let's extend the arms out to the sides, and with the inhale, stretch them up to the ceiling. Coming to the top on your float. Exhaling the arms back down. Touching the floor when you're empty. We'll do it again. And then one more time. And when you're empty, go ahead and open the eyes if you haven't already. And we're going to come around onto hands and knees. So spread the fingers nice and wide. Think wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Belly's engaged here. And we'll just move through some cat cows. So on an inhale, drop the belly toward the floor. And on the exhale, round your spine toward the ceiling. Flowing in and out like that with your breath. And just see how much of your spine you can engage, all the way from the tailbone to your head. Noticing which areas are very flexible and which areas are a little tighter. Let's do one more flow. And then find the middle. So making sure the belly's engaged, we're going to extend the right leg straight back. So here's an example of really extending the leg out and making it more or less challenging, right? You could bend your knee, right? I don't know about lifting it less high, right? But you definitely want to lift it higher. So find that middle, right in line, pressing through the heel. Even if your knee is bent, imagine pressing through the heel. It's going to make it work, right? Then, what about extending the left arm forward? Reach in opposite directions. Again, if this is not great for your shoulder, maybe the hand just comes up off the floor. Okay. Take a couple of nice big breaths here. Notice if you wobble a little bit. And then release it back down. So something that simple, you can even modify. Extending the left leg back when you're ready, and then the right arm forward. Making the modifications if you need. Nice full breaths. And then releasing that side. Adding on to this one, I'm going to go ahead and turn for just a quick second here. Go ahead and extend that right leg back again. And the left arm forward. This time, take the arm over to the left and bring the leg around to the right. So again, maybe not as far, maybe not engaging the arm. Take the hand back to the floor. We're going to bring the toes over to the side here and come up on the knee. So cushion the knee if you need. Ankle in line with the hip. Extend the left arm up. We're going to reach over the outside of the leg here. Same idea with this arm extended overhead. It makes it a little more challenging than just simply having it down at your hip. With an inhale, gently make your way back up to the top. Bring the hands to the floor, lifting the leg, take it back and down. So same idea on the second side, extending the left leg and the right arm. Remember to modify if you need to modify. Take the arm or the leg to the left and the arm to the right. Releasing the hand, take the toes to the floor over here on the side and come up on the knee. Again, cushioning if that's where you need to be. Heel in line, reaching up with the right arm and over. Nice big breaths. With an inhale, making your way back up to the top. Release the hands. Lifting the leg, take it back. And then down. So one more time. Extend the right leg and left arm. Bend the knee this time and take your hand around and see if you can find your foot. Point to the knee at the floor or to the wall behind you, depending on how you see that, of course. Press the foot into the hand, give a little shoulder stretch. You can lift your toes a little higher, feel your quad stretch, and of course, challenging your balance. We're going to release the foot, stretch out long, and take it back down. Second side, left leg and right arm. Bending at the knee when you're ready, finding the foot. Modifying to what your body needs on this side. And then gently releasing that, stretch out, and release down. So go ahead and sit your hips back to your heels. Take a little child's pose here. Let's come back up into our all fours. So from here, take the right hand palm up. We're going to weave it underneath here. And maybe the elbow comes to the middle of the mat. Maybe the shoulder comes to the middle of the mat. So you don't want to be leaning on your head. So if you feel like you're leaning forward or sitting back, see about finding the middle. Pretty much in line with where your hand was is a good little idea. Staying even through the knees, right? So the hips don't move all the way around, move all around. Press into the left hand and point your elbow towards the ceiling. Press into your right arm. Feel your belly kind of change a little bit there. So here's another place. The hand can stay on the floor or extend it toward the ceiling. Try not to let your shoulder collapse in on your face, though. Stretch away from the body. Maybe come off that left knee and see about lifting your left foot away from the floor. bending the knee. You find your foot here? Take your time. And maybe the answer is no. If you press the foot into the hand, you can open up that quad stretch a little bigger. Gently release. And come on down back to all fours. All right, so we'll go to the second side. Same idea, but it might not end up looking the same. So we'll see what happens over here. That left hand, either elbow or shoulder to the mat. And you can do all of those pieces with the elbow on the floor, right? So find where your body needs to be. Ground into the floor here. Even on the knees. That left shoulder's happy. And then you add the right arm or not. You add the right leg or not. Giving yourself that quad stretch, maybe. And then releasing what you got. So let's sit back in child's pose again. This time here, take the arms and stretch them long. Reach toward the top of your mat as far away as you can. And imagine sitting your hips back toward the back or the bottom of your mat. See about coming up on your finger pads. Pull your shoulders together on your back a little bit. Feel your armpits kind of hollow here. Maybe you can even reach away a little bit more. And then keep the hands about shoulder distance apart as they are here. And we're going to take them and walk over to the right. Leave your head in the middle of your mat. Come on back to the center. And walk to the left. Bring it back to the middle. Rooting the palms again here. We're going to work our way into down dog. And just let yourself wiggle and stretch a little bit. Checking that your hands are where you want them. Feel even on the four corners of the hands. Bicycling the feet here, the legs. And just kind of settling into it, whatever that looks like. Sinking the heels toward the floor, pressing the chest back, head hanging in line with the arms. From our down dog here, let's step the left foot roughly halfway to the hands. Turning the toes out to the left, that foot's flat to the floor. You want to roll to the outside of your right foot and bring the left hand to the hip. Straight line from the crown of your head through that right heel. Make sure the right hand is happy here. You can definitely drop the right knee to the floor if this is too much. You can take that left arm up and over. Again, notice the gigantic difference in the sensation there. We're going to make our way back to down dog. And then switching sides, bring that right foot roughly halfway up. Turn the toes out, all the way over that left heel. Put it on the floor. Modifying if you need to, taking that right arm where you'd like. And then making your way back to down dog. Go ahead and drop down to the knees for just a quick moment. We are not done with that, but we need a little break. So back to down dog. Little break. You can take a bigger one, of course, if you need. So this time, instead of stepping the left foot halfway up, step that left foot to the outside of your left hand. And maybe it doesn't make it all the way there. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Don't worry about it. Just kind of notice where you landed and how you landed. Was it a big, right? Or were you able to just precisely step that foot very lightly to the floor? Don't judge, just notice. Step back to down dog. Make sure you keep the belly in, that helps. And then see if you can get your foot either closer to the hand or maybe you step a little lighter or you land exactly where you expect to, right? Just see what happens. Go ahead and step that left foot up again. Was it different? Step back. Do that one more time. Step forward. And then back. So the idea is to get closer to what you meant. Right? This time you're going to step that left foot between the hands into a plain old lunge. Let's go ahead and drop the right knee. Wiggle around into your hips a little bit. So find a center. Imagine pulling your legs toward each other. Keeping the shoulders down and back, belly in. The hands can absolutely 100% stay where they are. Maybe. Just take them down towards your hips, right? So kind of hug into the hips with the forearms. So the body is still in this alignment, right? Your belly's working. This is a little more challenging maybe for your balance. What if we took them out to the sides? Keeping the upper body forward like this. What about stretching them alongside the ears, right? Again, making it more or less challenging. Keep the legs pulling toward each other, the belly in, the shoulders down and back. What about lifting just the upper body, coming more vertical? Reversing that, come forward, fly out, down to the sides, and then back to the floor. Lifting the knee, step back to down low. So let's work the second side, starting where we did with the first side. Bringing the right foot to the outside of the right wrist. And again, just kind of noticing where you landed, and maybe your brain was already kind of catching on because we did it on the other side. Step back down low. And then step the foot to the outside of the wrist again. See if it's different this time. Maybe you can land a little more lightly. Back to down dog. One more time like that. Put that foot exactly where you need for it to land. And then back. Stepping the right foot forward between the hands. Plain old lunge. Drop the left knee. Maybe wiggle around a little bit. Finding your center, sweep the legs toward each other here. And then add arms if you want to add arms. So maybe the hands on the mat, maybe them back by your hips. Maybe out to the sides. Forward. Kind of forward. Keeping everything engaged, lift the upper body. And then reverse, bring it forward. Out. Back. And down. Back to down dog. Drop on down to the knees and give yourself that little moment in child's pose again. For child's pose, slide forward into kneeling plank. So again here, just take a little second, make sure your wrists are under your shoulders, your hands are even on the floor. Modify, of course, if you need to modify even this, right? A lot of people like forearm planks instead. The wrist is too much. Belly's in. We're gonna hug those elbows tight to the body. So think squeezing your rib cage on the way down, all the way down to the floor. Everything gets together. Okay. Slide back just a little. So hands next to the side ribs. Ideally, that's where they land. Sometimes yes, sometimes less. So hugging the elbows in again here. Roll the shoulders up by your ears, together on your back, down toward your hip bones, and then release. So flow with your breath as you inhale, roll up. As you exhale, release back down. Take a few more rolls like that. And just release to the floor. Keeping the hands where they are, keeping the elbows tucked in. Pull the lower belly up toward your spine. And then lift back to kneeling plank. Sit back to child's pose. And let's make our way back to down dog. Walking the feet forward here, we're going to come to our first standing fold. Taking the feet right up underneath the hip bones. Make sure your toes point forward. And think about the four corners of the feet like we were talking about the four corners of the hands. Maybe lock in place a little bit. And then bring both legs straight. Remember, if you don't touch your toes or the floor, don't worry about that, right? Keep the shoulders on your back where they are in this neutral position here, head in line. We're gonna slide the hands up to the thighs, if they're not already there, and come halfway up. So ideally, you're parallel to the floor. That may or may not be exactly where you are. Don't panic. But keeping this neutral spine and the belly working. You can lean your hands on your legs as much as you need to. This is another place where we add the arms to make it more or less challenging. Think about the legs straight and the hips over the ankles. It's easier if you bend and lean back a little bit, but that's not what we're going for. So lean if you have to lean. But if you don't, arms down by your sides, right? Or down by your hips, forearms to the hips. Maybe arms out to the sides. Notice what happens in your lower body to try and compensate, and keep that as steady as you can. Change your arms if it's better. What about forward? Different, yeah? Take another big breath. Wherever you're at, bend your knees and come to chair. So you can still be leaning for days, right? Belly's working, shoulders are down and back, wherever you are. On an inhale, let's extend, reach to the ceiling, and then release it all. So you can see how just adding or subtracting makes a big difference. We're going to work into our sun salutes here. So remember to follow your breath, modify whatever you need to modify. I start off a little slower, but if you're ready to just go, 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 certainly feel free to do that. So nice and tall here. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale yourself into a fold. Inhaling, come halfway up. Exhaling, step back to plank. Knees, if you'd like, down to the belly. Elbows tight. A nice little shoulder roll, maybe pulling to expand your cobra, and then releasing, making your way back to down dog. Inhaling as you step forward. Next inhale, halfway up. Pull over again. And then all the way up. Remember to use your arms on your legs if you need the assistance getting up. Okay? So another one, just like that. Again, you can move a little deeper if you're ready for that, or not. So inhale and lift. And fold. Halfway up. Back to plank. Take it down on that same exhalation if you can. Cobra. And down dog. Inhale, step forward. Halfway up. All the way up. And release it. So that same variation, one more time, only you're on your own, right? Work with your breath, modify what you need. If you need an extra breath here or there, take it. So here we go. This is all you get. Inhale, lift up. And go. So hopefully you can do those in your sleep. So let's go ahead and, gosh, my brain, add on. I had too much coffee this morning. Adding in, again, yes or no, depending on what your body needs. So this time we inhale into chair, and then exhale to the fold. Come halfway up. And back to plank. All the way down. Cobra. Back to down dog. Right foot forward into lunge. Heel or knees to the mat, lifting the upper body. One inhalation, if that works for you, exhaling back down. Don't cheat your breath or the pose. Take an extra one if you need. Inhale into plank, down to the belly. Cobra. And down dog. Second side, left foot. Heel or knee, reaching up. Coming back down. Sliding forward into your plank. All the way down. Into cobra. And back to down dog. So you're going to hold this down dog or drop it to child's pose and take 5 nice, slow, long breaths. Catching your breath. Resting pose. Good morning, y'all. If you drop down into your child's pose, go ahead and lift back to down dog. And on the next inhalation, step forward, fold. Come halfway up. Folding back over. Into chair. And exhale, release it all. All right. So let's go ahead and from the top of the mat, take a short step back with the right foot. All 10 toes pointing forward, hips are square to the top of the mat here. The left knee is bent, but not over the toes, trying to keep the knee over the ankle. And then the hands can, of course, stay on your hips. They can even support on the thigh if that's where you need to be. Maybe reach the arms. Keeping the shoulders down and back. Relax the shoulders down your back. And from here, we're going to transition into Warrior 3. So you can absolutely just pop yourself up, right? But maybe not, right? You can take your hands to your hips, support on the thigh, leaning into the left leg as we lift the right toes. We're going for that parallel to the floor thing again, like we did on the knees. Remember, the arms change it, right? One more breath. And then bend into the left knee, step way back into a lunge. Sweeping the legs toward each other. You can drop the right knee so that it's like what we did earlier, okay? Or keep it away from the floor. Climb up, lifting the arms here. Release the arms, take them back to the mat, and then see about taking the left leg straight. So you might need a block, you might need to drop that back knee. Folding over this left leg. Keeping the belly working and the legs pulling toward each other, go ahead and bend your knee again. This time, bring your left hand to your hip. Rotate your belly button toward the inner thigh. Drawing the shoulder around, maybe looking up, maybe adding your arm, or not. Keep the legs working and see if you can take your left leg straight again. Release it. Step forward and fold. And let yourself hang here. Maybe a little bend in your knees, grab opposite elbow, let your head hang. Whatever feels good, or support like heck. If they're not already, go ahead and bend down to the knees, and on an inhale, roll up through your spine, coming back to standing. All right, so that same idea on the second side, and you might modify differently over here than you did the first one. So that short step back to begin. Four corners of the feet on the floor, toes pointing forward, bend into this right knee. And then, of course, the hands go where the hands go. And sometimes the arms are just more about balance than anything else. It's not necessarily challenging or difficult, strength-wise. So just take every pose, every moment, every piece of every pose, and just make sure it's working for you. We're moving into our Warrior 3 then. So however you get there, hands where they need to be. All the weights in the right foot, we lift the left leg. Parallel-ish to the floor. But again, not higher so that the hip opens. Lower is okay. And then, of course, the arms, wherever the arms go. Bend into the right knee, step way back lunge. Get your legs steady, drop the back knee if that's where you are this morning, and come on up, reaching the arms here. Release the arms back to lunge, and let's straighten the right leg. Then take back into the knee. Let's add our twist. Right hand to the hip. Rotating around. Taking the arm up maybe. Keep the legs working like crazy. And then take the right leg straight. Release it all. This time, step back, down dog. Dropping down to the knees, take child's pose. And then from that child's pose, we're going to slide forward out on the belly. So all the way down on the floor. We're going to work with the arms again. Definitely tell Summer's here. So making this more or less challenging, starting off easier and working up. See if it works. Bringing the arms down by the sides. We're going to use just the upper body and locust here. So grounding the toenails into the floor, turning the tailbone toward your heels. And then the arms can just be down by your sides or interlace behind your back, whatever you find more comfortable, but just so that they're in this direction, yeah. You can even keep the hands on the floor as we roll our shoulders up, together, and down for the hip bones. So this nice little lift. It's enough work sometimes, yeah. Keeping the pelvis and the feet grounded. You're breathing. And then release it. If that was a boatload of work, maybe that's where you stay. But let's see about giving this a go. So take the arms and make our little pillow, right? So stacking the hands, rest your forehead on your pillow. And then glue your forehead to your pillow. So if the head lifts, the hands have to come too. And the elbows. But basically everything is exactly the same. We're just changing where the arms are to make it more or less difficult, right? Or challenging. So toenails on the floor, tailbone grounding toward the heels. We do the same thing with our shoulders, roll them up together, down toward the hip bones, and then we lift the chest with the hands attached to the forehead and the elbows wide to the sides. Now, if your shoulders don't love this or it's too much work, come back down. Breathe. And then release. So there's more. There's always more. There's always more. So, down by your sides, in this little pillow position, or extending forward. But if the arms are extended forward, the same rule applies. If the head lifts, the arms have to lift too. And now there's a lot of it. So, listen to your body, give it a go, and if it just isn't for you, then find someplace else to go with the arms. You can go out to the sides too. There's nothing wrong with that either, but for our purposes here, ground your toenails, turn the tailbone, roll the shoulders, and curl away from the floor. How do you feel? Can you breathe? You have to breathe. Head in line with the arms. We got one more breath. And then release them. If you're not already there, make that little pillow for your head. Rest. You can turn your toes toward each other and then just gently rock back and forth on the hips. And typically when we're using just the upper body, the lower back feels okay, yeah? But just gently shake it out. Sometimes when we go to lift the legs, we overuse the lower back and it gets a little tight here. So see what your body needs. Be kind. Take those hands, come center. Take the hands back next to the side ribs, up and back to a child's pose. Come to sit up on your heels. And we're going to work with camel. I almost said one more pose using those arms, but there's actually two more. So we're going to come up on the knees. And if this is a no-go, you can just sit back on the heels or you can come down to your seat, right, and just kind of wait. Or cushion if that's enough to just cushion. So the idea is to keep the hips over the knees. Right? It's easier to lean back, but again, that's not really what we're going for. Keep the tailbone tucked, your lower back is long and happy. And this, essentially, the rest is a lot like what we just did on the belly. So hands here can support on your lower back, because there is a little bit more work. Or maybe interlace behind your back like we did on the floor. Yeah, let's start there. And then we can add on maybe. So keeping that tailbone tucked, roll your shoulders up, together on your back, down toward your hip bone, so your chest this time curls toward the ceiling. We want to keep the chin tucked so your head isn't just flopping back in the lower, or the back of the neck stays nice and long. No pinching. So this is just like before, right? If this feels okay and you want to give it a go, I like cactus arms, elbows up to the sides, elbows bent at 90 degrees. And the wider the elbows, right? So imagine drawing your shoulder blades closer together on your back so that your elbows could touch back there. They won't ever, but, well, hopefully never. But that's the direction they're moving. So the chest really crazy opens. If that's okay and you want to try something different, take the arms alongside the ears, reaching back. So again, just changing the position of the arms, the position of the shoulders to suit whether you want to work harder, whether you need to compensate for an injury. Bring the arms in and gently lift the upper body into neutral, sitting back on the heels. Just take a minute here. I know the temptation is to come into a forward fold, and you do want to fold forward after back bends, but not right away, especially after big ones like that. Nice and easy, slide it down and take a child pose. Coming back up on the heels, we're just going to bring the legs around front. Stretching them long. So extending the legs straight out, feet flexed, toes pointing toward the ceiling. Okay. Sit really tall. So keep the chest lifting, the belly's working. Okay. And here, we're going to extend the arms. This may be where you stay. Think about the shoulders being down on the back, the belly working. Keep your legs active and begin to hinge forward from the hips. When you feel, just like when we were standing in this position, or something similar to this position, when you feel like your knees want to bend or your back wants to round or your head flops forward, stop. Okay? So don't worry about touching your toes. This is not about that. Just find where is enough. Shoulders feel good. You've got this great alignment. You can breathe. One more breath wherever you are. With an inhale, hinge it back up again. And then release it. Get those shoulders a roll. They've been working. And then taking the feet flat to the floor. Make sure you've got some place to roll back to. Hanging onto the thighs, lift your chest. Lift your toes. You can balance here. Bring the shins parallel to the floor. Maybe lift the legs or the toes to the ceiling. You can let go. You can change where your arms here. Right? Listen to your body. What do you need today? Bring the soles of the feet together and hang onto your ankles. Try to stay balanced. And then instead of lifting your chest, go ahead and C-curve your spine and roll on back. Feet stay together, bring them to the floor. And then just release the inner hip. Release your back, your belly, whatever still feels like it's working, just let go. We'll take the soles of the feet to the floor, knees together. And then nice and easy, draw your knees into your chest. Much slow rock. Take the feet to the floor again. Let's cross the right leg over the left. And this time here, have your knees close. Right? Squeeze in. If you can wrap that right foot behind your left calf, lovely, go for it. And extend the arms out to the sides. Palms face up, unless that's not good for your shoulders. Yeah. And we're going to keep this as we drop the knees over to the left. And just let the legs rest to the side. If you can, tuck that right foot under as much as possible. Coming back to the center, keep the legs crossed like they are, but now drop the knees over to the right. Take your time, right? Try and relax your shoulders. And again, this is adding a little bit more body weight, changing up the twist. So if it isn't for your hip, right? Your hip is complaining about this, then uncross. That's body weight. Let's take just a couple more nice big breaths over here. And then come on back to the middle and release it. So working the second side, we do the exact same thing, cross the left leg over the right. Tuck the foot if you can tuck the foot. And then we drop the knees over to the right to begin. Tucking that left foot underneath as much as possible. And just notice how different it is than when the legs were crossed the other way. Bringing it back to the middle and over to the left. Taking just a couple more breaths. And then bringing it back up and releasing. Let's draw those knees back in and rock. Pull the knees in as tight as you can. Forehead toward the knees, give yourself a squeeze. And then release into a full body stretch. Releasing that stretch, find Shavasana. So whether you're flat on the floor, you're popped in one manner, you choose to seated meditation or legs up the wall. Legs up the wall is awesome. Find where your body needs to be right now. And see if you can just get into the habit of knowing what is right for you in every moment. And here on the mat, we practice where the body is, right? What's right for the body at that moment. But what about for your mind? So once the body is comfortable, so you can take your mind into that comfy place too. Being present, relaxed. And just allow yourself to be here for a few moments. Slowly draw in a deep cleansing breath. And then let it all go. Restoring gentle movement of the body. And when you're ready, slowly make your way back to seated. Sitting well here, bring the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. Hopefully that worked. But you can see how to customize your practice for whatever your needs are. And I alluded to it a couple of weeks ago that even if you could not do asana, you can still practice yoga. And I'm going to try and get that video that I have uploaded just so you can take a peek and see if it's something that piques your curiosity. There are about 1 billion books, right? If it does, I hope it does. I've got some programs on the website. So there's so much more. So y'all have a great day. Thanks for practicing, you guys. And I will see you next time. Bye. You're welcome, Cheryl.